everybody, welcome back to another episode.
Oh yeah, God,
It's
a while.
Been a bit.
This is actually take 2 for this episode.
Oh well.
Yeah, the first one. After listening to that back, I don't think there was any editor on this earth that could have bring that to.
There's no editor on this show to begin with.
Shut up. I am professional. I'm shit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry for the clacking. I'm mixing my drugs.
They ease the pain, okay? Okay. All right. So, man,
so I think you wanted to spearhead the beginning of our show.
Oh,
you were watching the league game.
So
what is it, a championship or what is it?
World
I don't follow it.
Championship.
I'm not a big fan, but I know you are.
Yep. So tonight, about 45 minutes ago, actually, the World Finals concluded. After much hype, it was supposed to be the year that all the other teams actually had a chance. Ended up being 3 Korean teams in the semifinals and 2 Korean teams in the final, with SKT, Telecom 1, winning their 3rd World Championship in 6 years.
Right on.
Yeah, congrats to them. They deserve it. They are by far the best team. Those guys are robots programmed to play that game and play it well. So they deserve it.
They eat and breathe the game.
Yeah. I was watching a little thing on them. They had last year before the Worlds. And these guys spend 18 hours a day playing League. They wake up, they have their food brought to them, and they play. Like, I don't know how they do it. I like the game. I love the game, but I could not do it every day that much without wanting to kill myself.
That is an intense training regimen.
Yeah. I mean, that's like, whew.
Man, just sitting in a chair. I mean, I got to get up every now and then while I'm playing video games all day to just kind of move around.
I'm sure they get up and they're like jogging and doing stuff as they're playing. You know, they just kind of like run in place.
Yeah, move around, do some sit-ups.
Have the laptop on their
run in place.
All right, what else, man? We got Walking Dead.
Walking Dead. Oh my God, what an episode!
Yeah, you called it. You said Abraham.
Didn't I?
You said Abraham. Man, suck my nuts. That
suck my nuts.
That is an amazing last line. I mean, if I had to go out, that I can't think of another way. Can you think of a better line?
Suck my nuts. I mean, that's pretty cool because if you haven't read that far in the comic and if you haven't read the comic, this is going to be a spoiler, so maybe skip ahead 20 seconds from now. Anyways, in the comic, Abraham gets taken out by Dwight. And it's as they're walking away from the hillside. It's after, I want to say it was after. No. It's right before they meet Negan, as a matter of fact.
Who's Dwight again?
Dwight's the one with the burn victim face.
Okay, yeah.
He's since Daryl's not in the comic, Dwight's kind of like, and Kirkman's even made the joke that like Dwight's like Daryl light, you know. But since Daryl's not in the comic, Dwight starts off with the crossbow when he first appears in the comic, and there's this one scene where Abraham and Eugene are walking out of the hillside together to go, scavenge or something. And at this point, Rosita had broken up with Abraham already, and she was already with Eugene, And so he was just kind of like giving him, his blessings. He was just patching things up with Eugene because in the end there he genuinely liked the guy. So as he's walking and they're talking, he's just going off on this whole thing, and in the next panel you see he's there still talking to Eugene, but he's got this fucking crossbow bolt shot through the back of his head, coming out of his eye. And he's still talking, and he just kind of like stops mid-sentence and dies.
Fantastic. I was reading on Yahoo, after the episode that a lot of people just didn't get, and they were really upset why Glenn had to die.
I was reading that people were calling into work like, wow, man.
Like,
Jesus Christ.
He was
it
an
was
extremely
a lot
likable
more moving
character
in the comic, though, I would say, because it catches you by surprise. You know, they don't give you that lead up like in the show. In the show, they kind of give you there's a bit of a cushion there. You find out like, oh, they stumble across those things called the Lucille files, and it's just a bunch of pictures of people with their heads bludgeoned in.
Yeah.
So they give you the idea like, oh, the next big bad, he bashes people's heads in with a bat. Like, you know, when you get invested into the show, sorry to steamroll you, when you get invested in the show, you know already, like, a lot of the main characters are not safe. So,
you do.
I don't know. Yeah.
But
go on.
One thing that makes it harder, and I've said this before,
is the attachment. In the show, he's very likable. He does practically nothing the entire time to make you like him. He was next to Abraham?
No, Glenn.
I liked Glenn. I liked him a lot.
Yeah, everybody loves him.
He was a very likable character.
Yeah, like, he was one of the few characters throughout the entire time.
And remember, like I said, if they wanted a good show, they would kill him. And then I said, if they wanted, if they had balls, they would kill Daryl, but they didn't. They kidnapped him.
I would stop on.
You know what I'm afraid of, though? I'm afraid of, like, they're gonna actually do something to Daryl. Maybe he might share the same fate as his brother. He'll lose a hand.
I don't know, man. I don't know. But makes it harder than the comic book was, he wasn't likable in the comic book.
He wasn't
as likable.
To you, he wasn't likable.
There's no one in that comic book who's likable.
In your opinion of the comic, everyone's an asshole.
You've admitted everybody's an asshole.
I like the people in the comic. I enjoy their characters.
They are dicks.
I really enjoy their characters.
Like,
I find them more believable in the comic than I do in the show. So we're coming from two different points. I really loved Glenn in the comic. He was great. He was awesome.
He was a dick.
I understand why everyone was outraged. Like, I felt sick when I read it in the comic, but not enough to call into work the next day.
Oh yeah, man.
But it was a very, like, and they, that, and I'll give it to them. They really captured that beatdown of Glenn.
His eye just
that's exactly the way they couldn't have done it better than that. That was really good. Other than they have a for as good as the special effects are and, like, the gore and all that way that shit looks.
Yeah.
The whoever is in charge of that show has a knack for using this really cheesy CG blood effect.
Yeah.
So, like, it looks really bad. Like, it looks scary when Negan's there fucking bashing down on Glenn's head, but you just see these little spurts of CG blood, and I'm just like, I could do without it,
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I understand, like, when he swings the bat and it gets Rick in the face, like, yeah, that looks cool, but, like, when he's hitting the head,
after he's dead,
it kind of looks like a video game.
One thing I gotta say,
other than that, like, the scene is horrifying. Like, it is a very horrifying scene.
One thing I gotta say about this is I felt that this was a real crossroads for the show. It can either turn the show down to its imminent death. It's gonna it'd be like the jumping the shark on frickin' Happy Days. Fonz jumps shark. It ruined the show.
Well,
so,
I mean, again, spoilers. Jump ahead 20 seconds. The next big bad in the comic are the Whisperers.
Mm-hmm.
So you have these weirdo people who live, like, by an almost like a survival of the fittest code. No one bothers anyone. They kind of rape each other, but they're all animals considered by the alpha, the person who runs the group, and they run around in a
was that the people with the W on the show? The W on their heads?
No. They haven't showed up in the show. These people, they run around. They call them Whisperers because they'll skin zombies and wear the skins. and they kind of talk to each other as they're on patrol in these like gurgled, muttered zombie voices, so as the zombies don't catch on to them, because zombies think they're zombies. You know, they've proven in the show if you cover yourself in the mort flesh, you're not detected. Well, so that's what they do, and they live amongst the herds of zombies. It's ridiculous.
Back to my point was, I felt that they handled this really well. That they didn't do anything.
It was beautiful.
They didn't do anything that's going to lead to the downfall of the show. I think it was a good path. Cut off Rick's
hand when he pulled him into the RV.
They what?
I was almost afraid he was going to chop off Rick's hand when he pulls him into the RV, cleans off the axe, and gets it back from him.
Doesn't Rick lose a hand at some point in the show, or loses
He loses it very early in the comic. Yeah. Actually, he loses his hand right when they meet the governor, and the governor in the comic's like really creepy.
Yeah, he is.
He's a creep in the comic, but he cuts off Rick's hand pretty. But Kirkman admits that like that of all the things he's done, that was probably his biggest mistake, and
was not having Rick lose his hand.
Yeah, because he's like, fuck, you know, Rick lost his hand, and then shit, man. If you haven't read again, skip ahead.
20 seconds,
yeah. Rick fucking gets his knee obliterated when he takes out Negan. Like in that last fight when he drops Negan out of power.
Yeah.
Like he attacks Negan and he nicks his jugular with a knife. You know, as Rick's got that fucking undying sense of justice or whatever.
Blah 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 blah.
Blah 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 blah. Anyways, Negan still fights him though. Like he's still bleeding out, but he fights him. And he gets Rick on the ground and he fucking just obliterates his knee, just bends it all the way back towards his face. Yeah, it's bad. It's so, you know, now in the comic, Rick not only doesn't have a hand, he has to walk. Limp. Yeah, he's got to walk with a cane and a brace.
Damn.
Yeah, 2 years later, because he locks Negan up for 2 years.
Damn.
Yeah, I think it's 2 years.
So, moving on here, we got a little update. Following the news, I guess, our news story following No Man's Sky. We've been following a little bit.
There was an update.
Yeah. So, the 28th, which was, a day ago, they started releasing messages from their
Twitter account, their Hello Games Twitter account.
From the developers of Hello Game Studios. And at first, they said it was a hacker who put it on there. And it said that, basically, they was saying that the game was a mistake. And then it came out. Yeah, it came out then that it wasn't. It was a disgruntled employee. And there's only 16 people who work for this developer. So,
you know what, Bags?
What?
You know what, Bags? You know what I think happened?
What?
Yeah, I think there was just somebody there. I think one of them was just really drunk. It was just like, oh my god, this game was a mistake. And then the next day, they're like, oh fuck, what do we do?
Well,
we were hacks.
That fits into it because it comes out that it could have been Sean Murray who did it.
Man, you know, and that guy is under so much flack right now, so I totally believe that he was
just gets drunk.
Like, oh my god, what'd I do? This game was a mistake. I'm so sorry. Downing the chin by the bottle.
Yeah, and it's all come down to where they've released so many that it's a hack, it wasn't, that we don't really know. Yeah. But that's the latest thing, and hopefully...
He did make that weird Twitter, like, we've been binge-watching Mr. Robot. Like, dude, this isn't a time to be glib, you know?
Oh, man. So that's that.
That's that, man.
All right. So, first big subject of today. Sports games. I'm talking...
You hate them.
EA games, sports. You know, you got Madden, you got FIFA, you got the NBK 2016, whatever it is now. That isn't from EA, though. You've got Tiger Woods. You got all these other...
PGA or whatever.
Yeah, UFC. You got all these games. Now...
Oh, man, UFC is a shit show.
I have bought many of the games, because I do when playing. My wife and I, we sit there and we play them together. We will create franchises, create players. Great fun.
Yeah.
But they're a fucking ripoff. They come out every damn year. $60.
You know, I'm gonna tell you a story. Here we go. FIFA 13, right?
Yeah.
I think it was FIFA 13. Whichever FIFA incorporated like all that new custom content shit you can get now, like custom balls and shoes and.
I think it's all of them now, but yeah, go on.
Yeah, and I guess it's all of them now. Yeah, but when my friend had gotten FIFA 13, he invested all this money into all this custom shit to make his teams look all badass. And when 14 came out, it turns out like, oh shit, it doesn't transfer. You gotta buy it all over again, sucker.
That's the thing. See, so not only are you basically paying $60 for the same game, they add a few new features to like as a selling point, but the main point of the game, the main controls, everything is essentially the same from year to year. The only change is the roster. They add that, and then you had that microtransactions on top where you get all this customizable stuff. So, you can buy $60 for the game. You add another $20 in those, $80. You're paying this company every year for the same thing. And it's bullshit. It's wrong.
You can really see what bullshit artists EA is when you just actually realize that what they do to, air quotes, improve the game every year is something that can be handled through, a seasonal upgrade.
Exactly. So if you want a new roster, if you want to play with a new roster,
unless you have a new engine for sports games, you don't need to be making another one, man.
Yeah, if you
already have the monopoly on all the all the NFL teams, all the fucking NBA teams, and whatever professional sports, group is out there. You have the rights to those names. Nobody else can make a game now because of that.
Exactly. Well, people could.
There's 2K. There's 2K. Also, there's 2K game.
People in theory could make the game. They just got to pay the money to the NFL or the whoever for the licensing rights to that. And that's just so much money that only big name company like EA can
If the sports fandom was willing enough and had smart enough people on their side, they could make a fucking game that, it's just like, oh, here's it's just like a football team with a football game with blank teams. You make up your own team, you train them, build up your own stats. Therefore, you wouldn't have to pay the rights to the professional teams. You can call them the Butt Pirates or
that would be cool. Asses. And
wouldn't that be cool?
It would be
custom basketball team. You train them. It's kind of like Pokemon, but
go on, capture them.
You're sending these
go
dudes
to a high school and wrangle,
and you're making sure they're not doing drugs and beating hookers and shit. That would be great.
It would
I would play that game.
But unfortunately, for a lot of people, the draw is playing as their favorite team, as their favorite
One of your
players.
Players got caught dogfighting. There was a game like that for Xbox. It wasn't as in depth as how I'm explaining it, but it had shit on the side like, your team tested positive for drugs. It was this futuristic like football rugby game that was on Xbox. I forgot the name of it though.
Do you remember for Blitz, NFL Blitz or whatever?
Oh, I remember for like N64.
Yeah, where you could like suplex your freaking opponents.
There was like a cheat where you could be a minivan running down the field.
That game was fantastic.
That game was fantastic. But, or like in what was it, NBA Jam for Sega Genesis?
Oh,
the big heads and
yeah.
Catch on fire when you're doing really good. That was a lot of fun.
They were, and these games are fun. I mean, one thing my wife and I love to do is we'll go into the NFL games and we'll take the Cleveland Browns, and we'll move them and change their name because, no one likes Cleveland Browns. Even the Cleveland fans don't like them. So we move them and then we create like our own little team, little stadium, build it up.
Yeah.
And it's really fun. It is. I think it's wrong for them to do it. And I mean, the only way we're ever going to...
with something that they can just fix with an update. I mean, and then like they try to pass it off. It's like, oh, look, hey, their pants stain now when they sweat. Oh.
Exactly. The only way it's ever going to change, though, is if the fans themselves of the games stop buying.
Actually just stop buying them.
But that's not going to happen. I mean, let's be honest, that's not going to happen.
Just like, no, but the stats are different. Like, god damn it. You and
my
your fucking
player
stats.
Proved. I don't know. It was just something that I was thinking about, and I was just got really upset. And you know what? I want to rant about that on this episode.
Yeah.
I demand rant time, and since I write it, I get all the rant time I want. Huh.
It's terrible. I mean, I guess the only one that EA puts out that would be a bit sacred is Fight Night, because they don't put it out every year.
They don't, do they?
And it's like it's got a decent it's got decent game mechanics. It feels like you're boxing, or at least playing a very advanced game
what
of
is going to be
Rock'em
cool?
Sock'em Robots.
Boxing on VR. And we will get the VR later today, actually. We're going to tackle that topic.
That'll be fun.
But that would be cool. Imagine, Mike Tyson Punch-Out in VR.
Yeah, Punch-Out on the Wii was a lot of fun. Punch-Out on VR would be hella fun to do.
Oh, God. What was that big dude? The big final guy?
King Hippo?
Yeah, imagine trying to fight him in VR. Remember how terrifying that'd be?
Oh, dude, he's got, like, one big eye socket. Because he's got the big forehead.
Yeah.
And pinhead. The belly button that sticks out.
Oh my God, that would be terrifying. I'd cry.
Just this tiny little, multi-racial boxer from the inner city. You don't know what Little Mac is. They just kind of
put him there.
He's just kind of there.
I always imagined Little Mac is Italian. That was just me.
Yeah, he looks like he's modeled after like Rocky Balboa, isn't he?
I don't know if he is, but that's what is the vibe I got from him.
Yeah, Italian boxer.
Oh my God.
Oh man, that'd be great, VR boxing. And VR boxing against your friends.
I could see accidentally just knocking your friend out,
hitting your. Oh, you son of a bitch!
No, funny story. So I used to own sock'em boppers. Like everybody in the 90s did.
Sock boppers.
Yeah. So my friend and I, we would always fight with them. And what I would do, because I'm an asshole, is I wouldn't fully inflate mine. So when I punched him, my fist would go through. And I actually knocked him out one time. And it was fucking hilarious. He didn't see the right coming in and just hit him right on the chin, and he was out. Just on the ground on my living room floor, like, oh shit, I just killed my best friend. He didn't play sock'em boppers with me after that.
Sock'em boppers.
Alright, so what's next on the agenda here in the court of...
Establish that sports games are a scam.
Yes.
But,
yes,
sandbox games.
Yeah, they are also
I love sandbox games. Unlike sports games, which I find hard to play, and unless it's like Fight Night or something.
Yeah.
I like sandbox games. I really do.
So, let me open this with a qualifying statement.
But let's set some ground rules here. What do you mean by sandbox games? Because some people will argue that Fallout's a sandbox game, or Grand Theft Auto is a sandbox game.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was thinking of when I came up with it.
Now,
so when I'm talking sandbox,
okay,
I'm talking an open world game, no or little story. No driving story or overall thing. So that excludes Fallout, Skyrim, stuff like that. So because you're
talking about games like Minecraft, games like what's the other one? 7 Days to Die.
Yeah, Minecraft, 7 Days to Die, DayZ, Ark, those type of games. I mean,
no, Reign of Kings.
Yeah, Fallout to me isn't a sandbox. It's a action RPG with an open world element. That's the same thing that Skyrim. Yeah. It's open world. That's a good way to put it. Not a sandbox.
I get you. Like the
sandbox
Witcher,
is almost. A malleable.
Witcher 3, excuse me.
Yeah. Sandbox is a malleable world with you do what you want in. There's nothing stopping you.
You can go and I get you.
Yeah.
Okay. So anything that has like that base Minecraft feel.
Yeah, and that's. To me, they're losing their draw, at least to me personally, because they don't have that story element. Like, for example, I'm going to take one of my favorite...
You can put, what is it, a lipstick... Is it lipstick on a pig? Yeah.
It's a lipstick on a pig?
Yeah, man. Like, it's because there's so many of them. It's just, at this point, it's lipstick on a pig.
Oh, yeah, it's just the same thing, but... I'm gonna use one of my favorite games, Ark. I love the game.
Of course.
And I put many hours on Ark. But so you go in, the goal is to survive. You come out the first day or so, challenging, building up, to survive. After that day, the game really starts to lose its draw.
Have you read those articles about the weird ways to play like certain games, like you play Minecraft as a devout Muslim?
What?
Yeah, it was part of a BuzzFeed article. I don't know. I happened upon it, and it was just ways to make the game interesting after you've done, all the basic stuff there is to do in Minecraft. Like, I built a house. I'm sustainable. Apparently you can play the game as a devout Muslim, and it's pretty interesting.
So it's like LARPing, basically.
Yeah.
Except.
Yeah. But that's just people thinking out of the box and just fucking around with the game.
And if that's what you got to do to make the game interesting, then
need to have imagination, I guess. But I can see. I understand your frustration. There's so many of them out there. It's
not even that there's so many of them. It's just that they are like.
And they're unfinished, a lot of them.
They are, and it's hard. It's hard to play them long term because there is no end game. It's you build your vibe, and then it's kind of up to you.
And we went over this in the last game in the last show about the fucking early access. Again, we've been fooled by a few, and a lot of them are, as you say, sandbox games. Mm-hmm. And fucking A, like look at us, we're on the bitter end now.
We are really
eggs in very few baskets.
I think it gets, at least to me, they lose their playability long term because, like you were talking about with the roleplay Muslim one, that you, as a gamer, have to become the driving force after a certain point. The game isn't gonna lead you somewhere, and I think I come from the generation where I grew up on story-driven games, where like. Yeah. I like the game to take me somewhere. Like I like it knowing that I'm going somewhere. And I think that's what's turning me off of these sandbox games.
I enjoy games like Minecraft. Like I really enjoy Minecraft. But I'm a very visual person. So like that's what kind of keeps me from playing Minecraft is that like I just really hate the way it looks and it's so fucking ugly. And so but I like that concept of being God and just doing what you want and setting things up, but it takes a certain type of mind to do that. And I know I come from the same background as you. We had growing up were games that were just driven by story, and I think it's really cool now that we're older and we're finally starting to see these games. But my frustration is the oversaturation and the incompletion of it. There's just a lot of them, and a lot of them look like shit, like Minecraft. Yeah. And Minecraft, although complete, all the ones that came after it, maybe one out of every 15, 20 is looking towards getting completed. Like, look at how long we've been playing Ark for a year, and it's still it's barely gearing up to come out. It's already gone.
But see, what I'm going to counter you with, and it's going to go the same thing to me. Is I've played these games with you, and most often you will stop playing them before I do. You will lose interest in them before I do, and I lose interest pretty quickly. Like after a few months,
will come up.
Yeah, like so, once you'll go out and you will play it hardcore, and you will build something. You will be your little bungalows and your little exploration camps, and all of that.
Around and I do my little exploration,
but once you're done with that,
look at the lay of the land. I'm done. Yeah.
Yeah, you're done with that game. You'll put it down, and you'll come back to it, but you don't. And that's the same thing you do. When I go in, I'll set out and I'll build an awesome base because I love the building.
Go on.
Because I love building, but once I'm done building that base, I'm done. I got nothing to do.
Yeah. You see, we both have our limits. Mm-hmm. And we reach them at different goals, but I find that satisfying because I go back and I do it again, and maybe I'll do something a little different this time, or
Yeah, and I know some people what they're gonna say is that's what the multiplayer aspect of is for. That's what the PvP. But on the flip side, I hate building something, spending all that time, and then having some asshole come around when I'm offline.
It's just a little too real for a game, and I get that. That's why, my whole thing is when I do that is I when I get onto the game and I'm like moving on to the next part, I've already had my fun with the thing I just built, like my little bungalow. I had my fun with it. I played around with it. I realized this might not be here when I get back on. I said my goodbyes and I left.
But see,
so you have
I'm
to
not
have
like that.
Yeah, I understand. And so when I do want to do things like build something phenomenal and make something cool, is I'll start my own game and I'll let people I want into that server. I'll be really elitist about it. I'll be like, can I trust you? You're not gonna fuck my shit up.
Yeah.
I mean, I am admin. I will ban you, but But of course, if I'm looking to build something like memorable, I never do it on an open server with fucking with strangers. Ugh.
Stranger danger. All right, man. What do you got for us today?
I get that. That's fucking frustrating. I don't know how many times I've built a fort up, and I'm just like, all right, time to socialize, and like, god damn it, was only gone for a minute.
So you were talking about Telltale games. That's what you got for us today,
yeah.
right?
So I was doing a local play, and I needed something to do backstage, so I picked up the Walking Dead Telltale game, and it was fun. The first episode was fun, so I'm gonna buy into the next few. But with these, I'm not gonna. I'm either gonna put them on my tablet, or I'm gonna find another way to play them on the go, because I don't want to sit here and pump them all out in an afternoon in my room. I'd rather play these games on the go, like the way I think they're supposed to be played, because you can pause them at any moment and like go back to them. And I think it's really cool that they put them on, like the Android and iTunes app market, because you can just play them wherever you want. And they're very low quality, but they're cell shaded, so they look nice. And that Walking Dead one, goddamn, is really good. And I'm playing the first episode of the Batman one that just came out, and that one's really fun. And if you have if you have an Apple device, I don't think it is this way on the Android market, but on iTunes, you can get the first episode of The Walking Dead for free, the first episode of the Game of Thrones Telltale games for free, and I think a few others, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know which other ones, but those were the two that stuck out to me. And the Batman one is the first episode's only like $5, $4 if you want to try it out, and it's pretty cool. Pretty cool Batman Telltale. They're fun. They're like playing a really basic Heavy Rain. If you like Heavy Rain, or was it Beyond Two Souls or something like that?
And
games like that.
Dead by Dawn for PlayStation.
Dead by Dawn, exactly.
So these are like a really basic, or like not a basic, but a live action choose your own book, right?
Yeah. Like in the ones that, what I've noticed in these is in a lot of the social it's all social interactions. And very little like slide your finger here to whack it in the head. Depending on the social decisions you make, it'll say up in the corner like, oh, so and so will remember this, or like in the Batman one, your guests will remember Bruce Wayne shaking Rupert Thorne's hand or whatever.
You're like, oh shit, I fucked up.
Fuck, I fucked up. Everyone thinks Bruce Wayne's a criminal, but so things like that, they come back to haunt you later, or they come back to reward you later in the game, And I like games like that. I love games like that. And I remember I got my first taste of something like that with Indigo Prophecy back on Xbox, and that was a fun game. But yeah, Telltale games. If you haven't tried them out, you're into games like maybe you played Life is Strange, and you really like that, but you're on the go and you're traveling and you're just like, oh, well, I have a tablet, I want to play something. Check these out. They should run pretty well on your tablet if it's a good one.
Have you another one I think I've talked about this before was the Minecraft story mode. You ever play that?
That's a Telltale one. I didn't play it because, again, Minecraft just turns me. I hate those fucking big stupid blockheads. They remind me of
my son plays those. and it is.
Is it good?
It is really, really good. And they have the main character has this little pig named Reuben, and at one point, spoiler, like Reuben sacrifices himself and he dies, and you're like, Reuben, no! And he like pops up and he turns into a little pork chop, like they always do. The pigs do when they die, and you're sitting there and you're like, I have to be able to save Reuben. I have to. So you go back and you try, and there's nothing you can do to save him. And it's really sad.
He dies for the greater good.
He does. He does die for the greater good.
Right now, actually, though, if you buy the Batman Telltale series on Steam, they're doing a special. So if you buy it, you get the first episode free, and you know, so instead of paying $24.99, you're paying $21.99. I might jump on that. Well, I wish Steam would do this where you could play it on a tablet if you bought the game on Steam. So you got the Steam app on your phone or on your Android device or your iTunes device or your Nexus or whatever the fuck you got.
The fuck's a
I wish
Nexus?
you could play those like games that are on the Android market, those Telltale games from your Steam library. It's something they should work on. If you are starting to work on these games, The Walking Dead's got 2 seasons out already, so that's like really good. And on Steam, there's $6.24 each, so you pay $12-13, and it's like a good. Ooh, it's a good time. It's a good time. It'll last you a good minute. Yeah.
I've watched some of these. I watch them on YouTube. I watch your least favorite YouTuber play The Walking Dead ones.
Oh, is it the PewDiePie?
Yeah, I watch him. He tickles my funny bone. But yeah, I watched him play The Walking Dead, and it was pretty good.
Yeah, it's a fun game. I'm impressed. I'm impressed by the voice acting and the minimalism.
There's crossover. You see a few of the show characters, right?
Oh hell yeah! A lot of the show characters come out, man. It's really cool. I'm actually pretty excited to see who else comes out and to see how far they're gonna take this story. You know.
Now, does it do like what the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. does? Does it fill in blanks that tie into the show? Because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fills in blanks from the movies.
Yeah, I couldn't. You know what? So far, yeah, in the first episode of The Walking Dead, Telltale one, you're this guy named Lee Everett. He's from Macon, Georgia. And, if you know anything about the Walking Dead story, it all started in Georgia, or that's where the story starts. It's all surrounded in Georgia. And then they leave from there. But he's leaving from Atlanta to Macon. And in the first episode, you run into Maggie's brother, who, when you first run into Maggie in the comic, her brother's already dead. So you see her brother die. You don't meet Maggie, but you meet Herschel, and you watch Maggie's brother die. You also run into Glenn in Macon, and Glenn is like, "Oh, I got," like at the end of your interaction with Glenn and doing whatever it is Glenn is around there to do. He's listening. You fix a radio. He's listening to the radio signal. And they're talking about all the shit going down in Atlanta. He's like, "Oh, well, I've got friends in Atlanta," and you'd given him a walkie-talkie earlier, and he's like, "I'm gonna keep this walkie-talkie if that's okay," and you let him keep it, and he drives off, and that's him going off to go meet up with Rick eventually, and start that chain of events. And the walkie-talkie that you give him is the one that he uses to talk to Rick in the comic. Or when he's in the fucking tank.
Oh, he is, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So they do cool. And also they released a separate one that's like Michonne's origin. Like it's the story of her leading up, going to the. I think it probably ends with her getting to the.
How she becomes a badass.
Yeah, I know that. I'm pretty sure the game ends with her at the prison. It's only $3.74 right now on Steam. I'm so tempted to buy it.
It leads up to where she meets Andrea, you think?
Yeah, there when she walks up. I don't know how it is in the show, but in the comic she walks up to the prison and she's got like these 2 zombies on a chain.
Yeah, that's exactly how it went down in the show.
Yeah.
That's exactly how it went down.
But that's a steal right now if you're a big fan. It's only $3.74 on Steam. I know if you buy the whole season 1 on iTunes, you get the Michonne one for free.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, man, they're fun. Check them out.
I don't know. I might check them out myself. All right,
Yeah, especially for $3.74. Huh. Go moving on.
Moving on. What I'm looking forward to today, and I really looking forward to getting this with you, is virtual reality.
Yay,
these
VR.
Sets, yeah, these sets came out. What sparked this interest in it is the Sony one recently dropped, and so Oculus and the Vive, they came out in April, March. So they've been out some time, and now I think it's an appropriate time to discuss: are these a fad, or are they future of gaming? So, if you remember back in the 80s and 90s, VR was really popular, and people were saying that it's the future, but ended up being a fad. I mean,
remember Virtual Boy?
Yeah. Oh my god. There was some really, really bad stuff, and I think it's just because the idea was there, but the technology wasn't there yet. I mean, if you looked at it, there was no way that was.
Our tech wasn't up to par.
Yeah,
watching back when Virtual Boy come off, computers were still running off what, like 256 megabytes of RAM?
Yeah, they were garbage. So but now the technology is there. So I guess this is are these going to be? Do you think these are going to stick around?
I hope so. I'm hoping to play. I'm hoping to get into I'm hoping VR is what sparks my desire to play Elite Dangerous a lot more. Because also, they're coming out with a control, like a 130. I might even buy that $130 controller specifically made for Elite Dangerous.
That's cool.
My hiccups.
So
I got excited and I got the hiccups. But it's like $130 flight stick and throttle for Elite Dangerous. It's really cool. Yeah, Thunder was telling me about it, and it's coming out soon. $130. So imagine like setting that up on your desk, and then you've got the VR.
That'd be pretty cool, dude.
And you're looking around, and it just feels like it. It looks like you're grabbing your knobs and your handles and shit in your cockpit.
Dirty.
That's gonna be really cool. Getting dirty with your spaceship.
Getting dirty with my handle, my cockpit.
Another thing that kind of gives me hope for VR, there's a video floating around for PlayStation VR, and it's called Batman on Acid, and it's just this guy having a lot. Did I show you that video?
I've seen it. You didn't show me. I've seen that video. Yeah,
and he's just fucking around with the physics of the Batman VR, and he's like playing with the dead Jason Todd nipples, and he's doing the Adam West, bat dance. It's funny, and like the 1966 Batman song's playing in the background, and it's just him fucking with the VR. He's just stroking Alfred's face. He's dancing about. It's ridiculous, and so stuff like that makes me hopeful, and I hope they take it further. I hope it goes further than just video games. I hope, man. Did you ever watch the Ghost in the Shell TV series, not the movies,
No.
standalone complex? Well, in a bunch of the episodes, like a running thing in the series is how they use the internet. Like they've got the best way for me to put it that you would get it is that episode of Futurama when they go online.
Oh yeah.
And the chat rooms are just
the Lucy Liu episode.
Yeah, well, yeah, they get the avatars of themselves in these chat rooms. That's what it's like, but that's what it's like in Ghost in the Shell. But instead of wearing the gloves and the goggles, they're plugging shit into the back of their heads. I hope VR gets like that. You can hold chat rooms that way. You put on your VR goggles and. Like me, you, and Thunder, for instance, can be in the same room with AC, and we can be chatting in a room and have this weird visual element.
I mean, I'm usually naked when we talk, so that'd be kind of awkward. You just sit there.
That'd be funny. I heard Grand Theft Auto 5 is a lot of fun in VR, like playing that, getting into fights and shooting.
I mean, I'm not saying it's not going to be fun. I just wonder if these things can catch on. I'm looking at the sales.
I'm hoping
right
it can. Yeah, they have to make it affordable. That's the problem. Is that shit, dude?
Yeah.
You seen the price of these things?
Well, yeah. So that's one thing I want to talk about. So, all right. Right now, I'm looking at the sales. This is in 2016. It doesn't include the Sony yet. So it has the Samsung.
Sony one's supposed to come out.
It's already out. It just came out a few weeks ago.
Sony VR. That's right.
Yeah. So it has the Samsung. I'm not going to include the Samsung one because that's the one you plug into your smartphone.
Side note, I'm going to buy the Switch.
Those are So you have the Oculus Rift, which is worldwide brought in 3.6 million units sold, and the Vive is at 2.1 million units, which isn't. It's more than I thought, but I don't think it's great. I think they need more. And the price is a big thing. So let's take the Vive, which is the one I would personally choose after reading about them.
Okay, so tell me, why would you get the Vive? Is it because it's got the room sensors and the bigger range and the little handle?
Yeah, so the Vive has a better room per detection system. It also has, for the $8.99 or $7.99, whatever you pay for it, it comes with the controller, which the Oculus is yet to release. The controller, I heard, fits better in your hands. And I've heard it's more comfortable for people who wear glasses, whereas the Oculus tends to, like, grip your head. And being a glasses wearer, that would be a big issue for me. And I think it's a big issue for all VR sets, since people have to get used to having something on their head. And yeah, so that's why I would choose the Vive personally. I mean, it's, from what I read, the Oculus is just as good, but yeah, that's me. But these things, like, so they're pricey, and then on top of that, if you're like, for the Vive and the Rift, you got to have a computer can do it, and you're talking at least $1,000
to handle that VR, to have good VR capabilities.
Exactly, you're talking at least an additional $1,000 if your computer cannot handle it to have the graphics card and the stuff for it. So Vive $799, I think it is, right out of the gate, and then if your computer can't, another $1,000. You're looking at almost $2,000 to run this. So I think the price needs to come down. And then another thing, I think, to make this last, they need a game. In my mind, I can link every major system that's come out to a specific game that's held it. You got Mario for Nintendo. You've got Sonic for Sega, even though Sega died because they can't make a system to save their life. Xbox, you got Halo. PlayStation, you got Final Fantasy. I mean, you see what I'm saying?
This would be a good time for PlayStation to tap back on their. Remember with the PlayStation 3, with the PlayStation 3. Remember with the PlayStation 3, they tried to have that like online home app thing where you would have your little apartment and you can get a bigger apartment and decorate and shit and have your avatar.
That'd be cool.
I think something like that would be the gimmick for VR. Like look at Second Life. As creepy as it is, look at Second Life. Imagine taking something like Second Life,
terrifying,
and making that into it's a terrible example. Excuse me, but I can't think of anything else that would fit. In my mind, at least, anything that would fit the idea of a good VR gimmick. My idea of a selling point for a VR gimmick would be something that simulates like a life. That would be the ultimate gimmick. Not like your normal.
You're not talking like gamer status, right? You ever see that movie The Gamer with oh my god, what's his name?
Who?
Gerard Butler.
Oh,
you ever see that movie?
Yeah, where he's in that fucking like he's a criminal and he's fighting for his freedom.
But the life,
you're controlling him.
Remember they had like The Sims where they had that like morbidly obese dude controlling that like little block or whatever.
No, nothing that scary where you're controlling another man's life. No, like an actual like have you seen what the Japanese have been doing with VR and their weird ass sex machines?
No, I have not because I usually don't look up Japanese and sex. But okay, go on.
I do. I'm sorry, but yeah, there's some like, okay, of course this was coming. How could you not see it coming with VR?
Oh, I can see
Literally.
it. Oh my
Pun
god.
intended. How could you not see it? Of course,
Scary
somebody
porn.
out there was gonna create some kind of VR, fuck machine for combine that
And
with
like a really expensive blow up doll.
not even, you wouldn't even need the blow up doll, just certain anatomical parts. But that aside, take something like that. Take that concept. Take that concept. Take fucking like a fucking, I don't know, a big VR game with it'd be expensive as all hell because you would need like so many parts. It'd be like a room dedicated to your VR fucking world. Like the Void out in Utah. Have you heard about that? That's supposed to be the new gimmick. If there's anything out there trying to be a gimmick for VR, is that Void thing out in Utah where you're in a giant room.
It's like a sensory deprivation chamber,
like
basically.
Picture like a studio, like a green screen studio with just like basic shapes. So when you put on the VR stuff, all the shit maps around it.
Yeah.
And you've got a set, and you can fight a dragon, or you can, space shooter or whatever.
What I think needs to happen to make this stick is not so much a gimmick, as it needs a big name studio, something,
something back,
yeah, like a Bethesda or
Bungie
EA or something, somebody Rockstar
Project
who
Red.
designs a game and comes out with a game specifically for VR.
There it is. Exactly what I'm talking about. Witcher VR.
Oh. Ooh.
And then put it online. Just fucking everything metaphorically and literally. Because the Witcher will fuck anything and has.
God. Oh my. Trish Marigold, dude. I just motorboat that, right? Just
pretty much. Just fucking
the
Witcher
motorboat
VR.
Simulator.
There's your gimmick. Sex and violence. There's your gimmick.
That's all that needs to sell. If you give me a game that's nothing but that, I will buy VR.
That's what the game should be called. Just sex and violence. I would name it that. I'm sure I would.
Little SNV.
If I was a video game designer, I'd be a fucking billionaire right now. I'd have several. I'd have a GoFundMe, a fucking what's the other one? A Kickstart.
We put a copyright on any ideas that is released during this podcast.
Many, whatever, like independent funding accounts as I could have, and I would have as many people trying to fund sex and violence, and that would be my promise. It'd be like The Witcher VR, but more.
I just said we put a copyright on this, so anyone who steals our idea off this podcast, we're suing the fuck out of you.
Yeah, that's my idea. Sex and violence is my game.
They're gonna call it something else now, like something like Naughty Time and Revenge or something.
Fisticuffs and Fornication. That's my name too. Fuck you. I made it up. I'm trumping it. I'm trumping it, motherfucker.
Cox and Coitus.
Cops and Coitus. But there's your gimmick. Like a Witcher VR simulation. Like,
I think that would make it stick.
They like sex.
So I think it's gonna end up being a fad. Unfortunately, I really hope I'm wrong, though. I really hope this sticks. I'm really excited.
Gross sex aside, honestly, though, I think that would be the gimmick for VR. Would be the open world. That's where Sandbox is going to make its comeback.
Oh, dude, if I had oh my god, imagine Life is Fetal VR. Oh.
But Life is Fetal can be so. Life is real,
dude. Like, there you go. You wanted a life simulating game. There you go.
Dirt, the time it takes to dig real dirt.
All right, man. So, what do we got next week? I know I'm going to be talking about Civ 6. That I've been playing that. I've got.
Oh, yeah, you just got Civ. So on our next episode, we'll have Civ 6.
We'll have that broken down.
A lot of things.
May or may not have
Pokemon
it, right?
Sun and Moon are coming out pretty soon here, but that won't be for another few episodes.
Yeah,
right after my birthday. So
we're gearing up for the holiday season. Basically, we'll be talking about individual games.
So I'm looking to getting a new DS. Should I just go with a 2DS or does
3DS.
that 3DS?
3DS all the way.
Does the 3D really make a difference?
I think it does. I think it's cool.
Okay. Well, then I'll just get the Galaxy printer. If there's a Pokemon Special Edition one, I'll get that.
Yeah. So we got Civ 6, Pokemon. I just started World of Final Fantasy, so we'll have that coming up. I mean, we're gonna be really starting knocking out a lot of game reviews. We're in the works. We have planning a special 2-hour long episode. We're gonna be bringing in our friend Thunder.
Thundercrotch.
Yeah, we'll get that guy in here. So
we'll rope him into our fun. Wasn't there another game we'd mentioned before we started the show? Wasn't there another game that's coming out here?
Oh, I mean, there's so many. We got Final Fantasy 15. We got The Last Guardian.
That's right. Final Fantasy 15 is what you're going to be playing.
Yep. Last Guardian. Battlefield 1. I mean, there's so many we're going to be talking about here. I don't know how we're going to... My bank account's hurting, but it's okay.
Yeah, I don't know how I'm going to be able to fucking juggle this.
Sell your body. It's clearly the only answer.
I need to go to. Sell my body.
Yeah.
I'll figure it out.
Somebody will have to buy it, right?
Somebody will want me.
Oh, wait, you live on the border. Be a drug mule. There you go.
A mule.
Smuggle cocaine in your anus.
Various orifices of my body, and I'll run across the border.
All right. So
all that and more
next time.
Next episode.
Thank you for watching. We'll catch you next time.
Drugs in my butt.